The history of ancient Rome is full of dramatic turns, and among its emperors are figures whose fates are astounding. One such ruler was Valerian, whose notoriety, unfortunately, is often associated with his tragic and unimaginable end. This Roman emperor went down in history as the only one to be captured by an enemy and used by the Persian king Shapur as a humiliating footstool. However, despite this ignominious fate, sources paint a picture of a man of honor who, with incredible diligence and self-sacrifice, tried to resist the countless trials that befell the Roman Empire during his reign. His captivity and subsequent fate became not just a personal tragedy, but a catastrophic, unprecedented blow to the prestige and power of the Eternal City. For an emperor ruling in the tumultuous 3rd century, Valerian stood out because his roots lay in an ancient Roman senatorial family. He was a direct descendant of a noble lineage whose origins were in mysterious Etruria, which gave him special status and weight in the society of the time. Very little is known about his early life, as if a veil of time conceals this period. Nevertheless, it is reliably established that he married Ignata Mariana, and from this union, 2 sons were born who would enter history, Gallienus and Valerian the Younger. His political career began long before his ascension to the throne. He held the honorable position of consul during the reign of Emperor Alexander Severus. Moreover, Valerian played a key role in convincing the Senate to support Gordian I's rebellion against the powerful and despotic Emperor Maximinus Thrax, thereby demonstrating his political weight and influence. Historical evidence uniformly portrays him as a man of impeccable honor, someone who could always be relied upon in the most difficult times. However, being from a conservative senatorial elite, he himself held very traditional views, which influenced his decisions and actions. Emperor Decius, recognizing his exceptional qualities, entrusted him with unprecedented powers to oversee state administration when he departed for his fateful Danubian campaign. At this critical moment, while Decius was fighting fiercely with the Goths, Valerian apparently successfully suppressed an internal rebellion, thereby maintaining stability in the rear. After Decius's tragic death in battle, under the next emperor Trebonianus Gallus, Valerian received an even more significant appointment, heading the crucial command on the Upper Rhine, which was another step in his steady ascent to the pinnacles of power, foreshadowing events that would forever change his destiny and that of the entire empire. When Aemilian revolted against Emperor Gallus and rapidly advanced on Rome, Valerian was immediately called upon to support his sovereign. However, Aemilian's ambitions went too far, and saving the reigning emperor proved impossible. Consequently, Gallus fell at the hands of his own troops, and for a brief period, Aemilian ascended the imperial throne. Meanwhile, Valerian was already heading towards Italy, leading his powerful Rhenish armies. As soon as he reached Rhaetia with his legions, the 58-year-old Valerian was proclaimed emperor by his loyal soldiers. Aemilian's fate was as tragic as Gallus's. He was killed by his own troops before a decisive battle could even take place. The Senate in Rome immediately confirmed Valerian as the new emperor and swore allegiance to him. His arrival in the Eternal City occurred in the autumn of 253. Valerian's first significant act as emperor was to elevate his own son, Gallienus, to the status of co-ruler. Although Valerian had only recently ascended the throne, he was undoubtedly about to face many serious problems requiring immediate resolution. On the eastern borders of the empire, the Persians, led by the powerful Shapur, were devastating vast territories. In 253, Shapur focused entirely on Armenia. The unfortunate king Khosrov was killed, and his son Tiridates was forced to flee, leaving Armenia defenseless and open to Persian domination. It is assumed that Shapur might have taken Antioch during the same period, as indirectly evidenced by the sudden cessation of coinage there in 253. In addition, the Persian ruler Shapur completely destroyed the strategically important city of Dur-Europos, located on the banks of the Euphrates River. Meanwhile, in the preceding years, the Roman frontiers along the Danube had experienced increasing critical tension due to the emergence of numerous contenders for the throne and the incessant invasions of the warlike Goths in alliance with their tribal confederates. The tragic death of Emperor Decius on the battlefield at the hands of the Goths and Gallus's subsequent forced conclusion of a shameful peace treaty only underscored the depth of the crisis. Although Aemilian managed to partially restore the empire's lost glory, his decision to march on Rome inevitably led to the weakening of border territories as he withdrew troops from critically important defensive lines. Amidst this series of military defeats and political instability, a devastating plague erupted, which, spreading across vast territories, further depleted the strength of the already weakened Roman Empire. In this most difficult period, Emperor Valerian profoundly recognized the acute need to divide supreme imperial power, seeing it as a way to effectively resolve the countless difficulties facing the realm. Thus, father and son, Valerian and Gallienus, distributed tasks and spheres of influence between themselves. Gallienus was to focus his efforts on restoring imperial control over the western provinces, paying particular attention to strengthening positions on the Danube and in the Balkans, while his father was to devote himself to restoring the power of the East and waging a decisive war against the Persian Empire with the aim of reclaiming land seized by Shapur in previous years. The Roman economy continued to be in a deep crisis, caused by inefficient financial management, crop failures, devastating epidemics, incessant wars, and a widespread reduction in commercial activity. Urban residents, seeking to escape unbearable tax burdens and constant invasions, massively sought refuge in rural areas. While the Goths practiced enslaving the entire population of conquered cities, this cruel practice, fortunately, did not extend throughout the empire. Nevertheless, the steady growth in the size of the Roman army and the expansion of the administrative apparatus inevitably led to a colossal increase in expenditures while simultaneously depleting state revenues. To somehow stabilize the imperial treasury, Emperor Valerian resorted to extreme measures, devaluing the currency to an unprecedented low. By the 260s, silver coins had virtually lost their purchasing power. However, Valerian and his son, seeking to ensure the uninterrupted payment of legions' wages, established many new mints throughout the empire. When Valerian arrived in Syria in 254, the Persian ruler Shapur had already left these lands. Valerian decided to establish himself in Antioch, making it his main base. As part of preparations for a large-scale imperial campaign in the east, Valerian transferred a significant part of his naval fleet from the Black Sea and the mouth of the Danube to ensure the logistical supply of his legions in Syria. However, due to the weakened naval defense of the empire, which protected the Black Sea and the strategically important Bosphorus Straits, the Goths managed to form their own naval forces and ravaged numerous significant settlements in Anatolia. To Valerian's credit, he took a decisive step by sending an experienced commander with an important mission, to take control of the crisis situation in the Black Sea, ensure the inviolability of the strategically important Bosphorus, and put an end to the pirates' outrages. However, it appears that the naval forces allocated by him were insufficient to achieve a complete and final victory, and, apparently, the sea raiders continued their destructive activities. In parallel, Valerian successfully regained control over significant lands previously occupied by Shapur during the recent military conflict. There is a hypothesis, based on information from the Historia Augusta, that the future August ruler Aurelian accompanied him on this campaign. In particular, Valerian managed to return the key city of Nisibis, as well as a significant part of vast Roman Mesopotamia, to Roman rule. Simultaneously, Gallienus was tasked with defending the extensive Danubian and Rhenish borders, which were constantly subjected to countless enemy raids and invasions. In 255, Gallienus was forced to undertake a rapid forced march to the Rhenish frontier to repel aggression from the Germanic tribes of the Franks and Alemanni. Epigraphic evidence indicates that in the same year, 255, Valerian was in Sirmium, located on the Danube, to personally take command and organize an effective defensive strategy in this region while his son was absent. It is known that during this same period on the Danube, future emperors Aurelian and Probus received military acclamations, which undeniably testifies to new waves of invasions into the province that occurred during Gallienus's absence in 255 or 256. Approximately in 255 or 256, Emperor Valerian convened an important palace council, which took place in the Baths of Byzantium. This assembly was attended by all senior officers and key officials representing the eastern half of the Roman Empire. During this significant meeting, Aurelian received well-deserved recognition for his recent and highly effective actions in defending the vast borders of the empire. Before embarking on his campaign to the Rhine,